Vow. A vow lat votum, vow, promise. See vote is a promise or oath. A vow is used as a promise solemn rather than casual. Marriage vows. Marriage vows are binding promises each partner in a couple makes to the other during a wedding ceremony. Marriage customs have developed over history and keep changing as human society develops. In earlier times and in most cultures, the consent of the partners has not had the importance now attached to it, at least in Western societies and in those they have influenced. Protestants, for instance, consider marriage vow as an unchangeable divine law since it needs not only conciliar assertion but also the support of the Scripture, making marriage a form of divine ordinance. Divine vows. Within the world of monks and nuns, a vow is sometimes a transaction between a person and a deity, where the former promises to render some service or gift, or devotes something valuable to the deity's use. The vow is a kind of oath, with the deity being both the witness and recipient of the promise. For example, see the Book of Judges or the Bodhisattva vows. In the Roman Catholic Code of Canon Law, the vow and the oath are not considered acts of worship cultus like the liturgical celebration. However, they are considered acts of religion due to their sacred character, including the religious obligations they entail. Here, an important characteristic of the vow involves the manner by which non-Catholics are recognized to be capable of making a vow, which must also be fulfilled by reason of the virtue of religion. The god is usually expected to grant, on entering into contracts or covenants with man, the claims his vow establishes on their benevolence, and valuing of his gratitude. Conversely, in taking a vow, the petitioner's piety and spiritual attitude have begun to outweigh those merely ritual details of the ceremony that are all important in magical rites. Sometimes the old magical usage survives side by side with the more developed idea of a personal power to be approached in prayer. For example, in the Maghreb in North Africa, in time of drought the maidens of Sauna carry every evening in procession through the streets a doll called Ganya, really a dressed-up wooden spoon, symbolizing a pre-Islamic rain spirit. Often one of the girls carries on her shoulders a sheep, and her companions sing the following words. Here we have a sympathetic rain charm, combined with a prayer to the rain viewed as a personal goddess, and with a promise or vow to give her the animal. The point of the promise lies, of course, in the fact that water is in that country stored and carried in sheep skins. Secondly, the vow is quite apart from established cults, and is not provided for in the religious calendar. The Roman vow votum, as W. W. Fowler observes in his work The Roman Festivals, London, 1899, p. 346, was the exception, not the rule. It was a promise made by an individual at some critical moment, not the ordered and recurring ritual of the family or the state. The vow, however, contained so large an element. In Christianity, the vow has more weight than an oath when approached from the view that it binds one to God, whereas the oath binds one to man. This was explained further by St. Thomas Aquinas, who said the obligation both of a vow and of an oath arises from something divine, but in different ways. For the obligation of a vow arises from the fidelity we owe God, which binds us to fulfill our promises to him. On the other hand, the obligation of an oath arises from the reverence we owe him, which binds us to fulfill our promises to him.